If you are somewhat up to date with the gacha gaming space, you'll know that Arknights Endfield recently released as the newest big gacha game. And while I do just currently play Hoyoverse games, mainly Genshin, I have played many other gachas in the past. So of course, with such a hyped new gacha release, I wanted to try it out. And after being addicted to the game for the past 2 weeks and finishing the first main region, I wanted to share my first impressions about the core aspects of the game. Now, I do want to make it transparent that Griffline has graciously sponsored me to make this video, which I'm thankful for, but that won't change my actual opinions and thoughts in this video. I'll be keeping it as unbiased as possible. First, I wanted to quickly go over Enfield's gacha system. I think this system alone warrants its own video to do a proper explanation and comparison of it, but just to summarize the key features about pulling, the game has 3 rarities, 6 stars, 5 stars, and 4 stars. You have to pull 80 times for hard pity for a 50-50 chance on the limited character, and you can lose your 50-50 on another limited character that's in the pool. If you lose your 50-50, you can still lose your next 50-50s, but instead it uses another system that is commonly known as the spark system, in which if you pull 120 total times on a single banner, you'll guarantee the limited 6-star. Lastly, you don't spend any of the premium currency on any weapon banners. They use their own currency you passively get, mainly by pulling for characters. There's definitely pros and cons to Enfield's gacha system, but I do think that if you plan and save your pulling tendencies and avoid the FOMO traps, the system is pretty good compared to many modern gacha games. Next, let's talk about the basics of the combat system, as it is very unique and has some similar aspects to the 3 big Hoyoverse games. A singular team consists of 4 characters, and you will manually control one character, being able to swap to any of the others if you choose to. The other 3 characters don't disappear, they will remain on the field, automatically attacking the enemy on their own. Similar to Zenless Zone Zero, enemy attacks can be dodged, certain attacks with the red circle can be parried, and they have a stagger meter that gradually builds up from attacks. When the stagger bar is full, enemies will become fully staggered and take more damage. In addition, similar to Honkai Star Rail, the whole team shares one resource called skill points, or SP, which are shown as the 3 bars near the bottom of your screen. You'll gradually gain skill points while in combat, dodging attacks and hitting enemies, and you can hold 3 SP bars at once. SP resource management is key to maximizing your team's combat abilities. Each character has 4 abilities: basic attack, battle skill, combo skill, and ultimate. Basic attacks are pretty self-explanatory and the same as most other games. Each character has a basic attack sequence they perform, even the ones you aren't manually controlling. The final basic attack of the sequence, which is called a final strike, is special because when the character you're controlling performs it, it will deal a lot of stagger and recover more SP. Using a basic attack on a fully staggered enemy also activates a finisher attack, dealing a lot of damage and recovering even more SP. SP is used for a character's battle skills. Battle skills don't have a cooldown, and you can use the skill of any character on the team regardless of if you are controlling them or not. SP generation is the only limiting resource, so you want to plan and choose which character skills you want to use at a certain time in the fight. Each character also has a combo skill. These don't cost any SP, but they have a certain cooldown and are only available to use when certain conditions are met, such as when your on-field character does their final strike attack. The cooldowns of the combo skills are shown above each character's health bar, and they will pop up on your screen when you are able to use them. Lastly, each character has their own ultimate that can be used when they have enough ultimate energy by holding their battle skill button. Ultimate energy is gained after a character uses a battle skill or a combo skill. Overall, the combat can feel slow when you're starting out since your team is not optimized, but once you build a proper team and understand how it works, even though the combat system itself seems very simple, it can get much more complex and fast-paced. The game's combat to me doesn't necessarily emphasize real-time reaction or mechanical skill checks, but rather proper planning of skill usage. The combat mainly revolves around waiting to generate resources, applying buffs and debuffs, and then using all your damage abilities to deal the most amount of damage. Kind of an ebb and flow type of combat where ideally you plan ahead the buttons you want to use. The proper planning and execution of this is what makes the game's combat in-depth and fun. Endfield also has an elemental system similar to Genshin. There are 5 elements in the game: physical, cryo, electric, heat, and nature, and only certain character abilities will apply elements on enemies. Physical is separate to the other elements, having unique effects working by mainly itself, but for the other 4 elements, if you apply the same element twice, you trigger an arts burst which deal extra damage, increasing whenever you apply more stacks of that element. Now if you mix elements together, you'll trigger an arts reaction. The type of reaction is determined by the second element applied, and the reactions will deal extra damage and can apply a debuff to the enemy to increase your team's damage. While this system isn't as complex as Genshin's in my opinion, the elements are still important to play around since it shapes the game's overall team building. In terms of character progression, I haven't reached the current endgame yet, so I haven't experienced everything, but from what I've seen, Arknights Enfield's character building system has much less RNG than what Hoyo games are used to. It has the same typical character leveling, ascension level, and talent levels, but the game uniquely has different materials needed for different tier levels. For example, leveling a character from level 1 to 60 uses one set of EXP mats, but leveling past 60 requires a different set of EXP mats. To be honest, I find this a little bit cumbersome since it means that there are multiple different types of materials I need to keep track of to upgrade my characters, but it's not the biggest problem in the world. In terms of gear, each character holds a weapon as usual, but each weapon can hold an essence to increase its stats. This system is the equivalent to the Hoyo artifact farming system, as you will need to spend energy to farm the correct essence for a particular weapon. Each essence has 3 stats, and you want all 3 stats to match a weapon, even a weapon's unique passive. And this is where a lot of the RNG farming lies, but you can use special tickets to make specific essences easier to farm. Once you get the right essence, that's the hard work done. You can then upgrade that essence using other essences farmed. And while upgrading does have a chance to fail, there is a pity system, so you'll eventually guarantee a full upgrade. Finally, each character can equip 4 slots of gear. Gear sets generally have a 3 set bonus, allowing for 1 flex slot, and each gear piece can be upgraded like the weapon essence. There's a chance of it failing, but you'll eventually get the upgrade after spending enough resources. But the gear system is not like Hoyo's artifacts. You don't need to spend energy to farm the gear and hope that it gets the stats you want. Instead, gear stats are fixed and are crafted using the game's factory system. The factory system is what, in my opinion, makes Arknights Enfield Arknights Enfield. It is what sets this game apart from every other gacha in the space, and I found it very engaging since I've never played any game before with a similar system. To give a general summary, the factory system involves acquiring resources to craft materials with machines, and you can automate and optimize the entire process to maximize production even when you're logged off. The materials you get is used to craft character gear, for instance, but they can also be converted to a currency called stock bills, which can be used to buy a wide variety of resources for character progression. The factory is also connected to exploration, since you need to connect power lines to ore nodes to automatically get the resources for crafting. You can even make and connect zip lines in the world so you can better traverse it to collect key materials. Because of this, the factory is not optional, as it is the core part of the game's progression and gameplay. It can look daunting at first, but there are plenty of tutorials in-game to help you understand the mechanics, and there are plenty of blueprints that are made by other people that you can simply just copy over if you want to save time. The factory gameplay may not be everyone's cup of tea, as it can get convoluted and grindy, but setting up a functional factory can feel very fulfilling once it's done. I personally had hours pass by making my factory without even noticing, since I was so engaged with the system. And that is my initial overview of Arknights Enfield. Overall, I don't think this game is for everyone. The factory system can itself definitely turn people away because of its complexity and the time required to optimize it for resource production. There are a lot of different resources and systems you ideally want to keep track of, and this can admittedly be a lot of work that people don't want to do. And you can't really skip any of this either if you want to level characters and just do the combat, since both the factory system and exploration are tied to character progression. However, I do think that these potential flaws are also what makes the game special and intriguing. The factory system is very unique for a gacha game, and when you get it optimized, it feels very fulfilling to automatically generate the desired resources. There are a lot of resources to keep track of and grind, but as someone who has played different MMOs like Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy XIV, playing Endfield does remind me of the satisfying grind I did for MMOs, which other gacha games have not replicated for me. The combat system has been satisfying to play, and the enemies have given me some sort of a challenge. The typical gacha systems such as gearing and pulling are positive breaths of fresh air compared to the Hoyo games. The performance and the graphics of the game are quite good, at least to me, and so far the devs' response to feedback has been quite good, as they recently addressed some quality of life issues and their plans to fix them, on top of giving everyone a free 6-star standard selector. So if you are interested in trying a unique new gacha game in the space, I do encourage you to try the game out yourself and see if you like it. Download link can be found in the description and comments below. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful day.